Hello everyone, Silent here and welcome back to another Bedrock Edition tutorial. Today I'll be showing you how to build a really cool fox-powered chicken cooker in your Minecraft Bedrock Edition worlds. It might seem kind of weird to use a fox inside of a chicken farm, but there's actually legitimately a lot of good reasons why you should build this over a standard chicken cooker design. First of all, it's really awesome to use foxes because they're just cute and tiny, but also foxes can pick up a sword in their mouths and actually use that to kill chickens for you. So you can put fire aspect and looting 3 on that sword, and then whenever they kill a chicken for you, they will drop more loot and also cooked chicken as well. This means that you can get up to 2.5 times more loot from this kind of chicken cooker than a standard chicken cooker, which is honestly really awesome. It's really cool to see, and it's just a fun use of game mechanics as well. Furthermore, there is no redstone in this design that can break, so you can build this anywhere in your world without ever having to worry about it breaking. So let's take a close look at this chicken cooker design, shall we? As you can see, it's a pretty basic cooker. We have the, adult chickens in the back here laying the eggs. Those all get dispensed into the main hatching area. These guys will sit here until they grow up, and as soon as they grow up, they will be killed by these foxes, which are holding some wooden swords with looting and fire aspect too. All the drops immediately go into this chest right here for your collection needs, and honestly, it's pretty simple. It is a tiny bit larger than your standard chicken cooker design, 5 blocks wide, 4 tall, and 7 blocks deep. However, considering that this one gives you 2.5 times the drops of your standard chicken cooker, I think it is significantly worth it. Now, you might be wondering why we would ever want to use foxes, because surely the swords that they're holding would break eventually, but actually it's a feature of the game that these swords that the foxes use never take durability damage. So I've given them both a wooden sword with next to no durability. This should break after 2 to 3 hits, and these guys have been farming chicken for hours upon hours now, and if we got that sword back from them, you would see that I would have the exact same durability. So you don't even need to give them a diamond sword. You can legit just go enchant like a golden sword or something with next to no durability, put some looting 3 and some fire aspect 2 on that, and then you will have yourself a good to go chicken cooker that will last forever and never break. And as you can see there, one of the chickens just grew up and it was immediately killed by one of the foxes. Now, we do have one fox on either side because they can't quite reach all the way across. So if we just had one fox on like the left side, some adult chickens would build up on the right side and they would never die. So we got 2 foxes to deal with that issue. You might also think that sometimes the foxes would kill these baby chickens, but that is guaranteed to never happen under normal circumstances. These guys will always be alive until they grow up, and as soon as they grow up, they will get killed by one of the foxes. So this thing is running at maximum efficiency. Alright, so there's not really that much more to say about this chicken cooker. Let's go ahead and hop into the tutorial, shall we? There's going to be 2 parts to today's tutorial. The first part is going to be having to do with the foxes, how to get them, and how to give them a sword with the proper enchantments, and then the second part will be actually building up the chicken cooker. Now, 2 things I want to say before we get into that. A materials list for this farm will be down in the description of the video for your convenience, and of course, if you want to see more tutorials like this in the future, then consider subscribing to the channel. I have over 100 Bedrock Edition tutorials for many different things that you might find useful, and if you want to see more of them in the future, then subscribing is probably a good idea. Anyway, let's get to it. So getting a fox is probably going to be the hardest part of today's tutorial, but you can find them in any kind of tundra biome, including snowy tundra. It doesn't matter what kind of fox you get, either an orange one or a white one, they'll work perfectly the same. Now, most of the time when you find a fox, they will have an item in their mouth. So if we can get one, normally it's like a really high chance. Come on. None of them have items. This is so cruel. There we go. Finally, that one has an item in its mouth. If you could get out of there, sir. Oftentimes they'll spawn with like a feather or an egg or a rabbit's foot in their mouth, and they'll never like get rid of that on their own. You have to give them another item. Now, if you have a piece of food, you can throw them that. So throw them a piece of chicken, they'll pick that up, you can grab the feather, and eventually they will eat that piece of chicken. So they actually like eat food items that are in their mouth, which is really cool. And there he goes. He just ate that piece of chicken and he's now not having anything in his mouth. What you can do now is grab yourself a sword, really any kind of sword, throw looting 3 and some fire aspect on that, and then simply drop it on the ground. The fox should pick that up, and now as long as no food is around the fox, he will always have that sword in his mouth. And now what you want to do is basically just get this guy into a minecart, and he's going to be ready to go. Now, of course, you'll need to get 2 foxes for today's tutorial. Moving on to the actual chicken cooker itself, of course, we're going to need a 5 wide by 7 deep area, and this is once again a 4 tall build. We're going to start off right here in the front center with a temporary block, swing around to the back side with a hopper pointing into the side of that block, and 2 more hoppers facing into the sides of that central hopper. Go ahead and get yourself a 5 solid blocks in these locations right there, and a dispenser facing forwards like so. We need a stone cutter in front of that dispenser, and a hopper right there on the right side. Go ahead and grab yourself some solid blocks. We need to build up solid blocks in all of these locations right here. And now we need ourselves 3 pieces of rail. Place those rail right there. You can remove those 2. We just need a curved rail right there. Go ahead and place yourself another hopper right there and an upside down stair in that location. We can now grab ourselves a hopper minecart, place that on top of that curved rail, remove the rail very carefully as to not break the minecart, and then gently push that into the stone cutter. It's a little bit convoluted to build simply because we need to get the hopper minecart in there, but trust me, it all works out perfectly. Now we can go ahead and get these 2 solid blocks back in those locations and place in ourselves a couple of powered rail. So place in 2 powered rail on top of those 2 hoppers right there. If they're facing in this direction, then that's perfect. But if they're facing to the sides, then you'll just need to place another rail right there to straighten them. Also, go ahead and place a solid block right above that dispenser, and then place a carpet on the side of that block, and that'll go ahead and cover up your stone cutter. So let me quickly explain why we're building things in this manner. The reason why we need all these hoppers plus that hopper minecart there is because all of our baby chickens will be sitting right here in this area. When they grow up into adults and get killed by the foxes, they can actually move around quite a bit and get some knockback, and when they die, they of course drop the chicken, which the foxes prioritize picking up. If they pick up a piece of chicken, they'll drop their sword, and that'll kind of break the farm. So that's why we need these hopper minecarts and all these hoppers to prevent the foxes from ever picking up any chicken. Also, the reason why we're using a stone cutter here is because it's kind of the perfect height. All of the baby chickens will stay underneath this carpet, and as soon as they grow up, their hitbox will be above the carpet, allowing the foxes to kill them. It's honestly the perfect block for the setup combined with the carpet, so that's why we're building things in this way. Moving on to the redstone for this build, let's go around the back side and place a hopper pointing into that dispenser, and then a 3x3 of blocks in this area with the corner cut out, and then 1 extra block right there. We then went a comparator reading from that hopper going into a repeater on 4 ticks, pointing into a block, comparator reading from that block, pointing into another block, 2 pieces of redstone dust, 1 more comparator, and finally a piece of redstone going back into this block. Now what this will do is whenever an egg goes into that hopper, it'll activate the system, launch the egg, and hopefully hatch it into a baby chicken. And now it's time to get the foxes into our chicken cooker. So go ahead and install solid blocks along all of these sides right here, and then we need to get 1 fox on that side and the other fox on that side right there. So place a solid block there, piece of rail right there, and then some powered rails along just to get this guy in there. Right now, mobs can control their own minecart, so that might make this slightly frustrating, but it should go fairly easily. As you can see, he's now in there, and we can go ahead and just put a solid block to lock him in place. So do that for both of your foxes, and then we will be good to go. Now it's time for the final touches of your chicken cooker. Go ahead and replace this solid block in the front with your actual storage chest. Of course, you can run that off into whatever storage system you like. Also, go ahead and place a glass block right above there and some glass in these locations as well. You don't technically need glass, but it does look nice and it allows you to see what's happening inside the farm. Looping back around to the back side, this is where your actual chickens are going to be sitting, and you want to put a piece of carpet on top of that. Completely surround this with solid blocks on all sides. Chickens are little Houdinis, and they will escape if you don't surround it in solid blocks. But now that we have this ready, just go ahead and spawn yourself in a bunch of chickens. Typically, you can do this by throwing a ton of eggs in there, and then I would suggest putting about 20 or so adult chickens in there. One small thing that you need to do to the redstone is also make sure this comparator is on subtract mode, so just right click it to make sure that is red. And then we can go ahead and test this out. We'll throw a whole bunch of eggs into that hopper. Now that we've thrown all the eggs in there, you can see that we're getting ourselves a bunch of baby chickens. These foxes will not attack them until they grow up, and it's looking very good. Our chicken cooker is now completely done and dusted, ready to go, giving you 2.5 times as much drops as a standard farm, saving you lag, and also making your farm the most efficient that it possibly can be. Thank you very much to Tranker for suggesting today's tutorial. It was actually a really fun and challenging little project to get to work properly. As you can see, I tried a lot of different things. There is so many different designs and little iterations that I went through. This took a very long time and was actually quite the challenge because of so many different bugs and quirkiness and just weirdness with Bedrock Edition. But it was a really fun, challenging, and just nice redstone project, so thank you Tranker for suggesting this video. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns about today's tutorial, then of course please let me know in the comment section down below. I'm always trying to help you guys out as best as I possibly can. And also, if you did enjoy today's tutorial, of course make sure to leave a like on the video. It helps out the video and the channel significantly, and I would greatly appreciate it. If you are new here and you want to see more tutorials like this in the future, then of course make sure to subscribe. Otherwise, I will see you all down in the comment section, and in the next one. Thank you ever so much for watching. I do greatly appreciate it. And then there was silence.